Okay, welcome everyone. Give everyone a few minutes to jump in. Sorry we're running a little behind schedule today, but appreciate your patience. We'll still start about 5 minutes after the hour, but yeah. So feel free to drop me a line in the chat. Love to hear how you guys are doing. What's new with you? Hopefully you enjoyed uh, this week's webinars. We had so much fun on Monday and Wednesday. Monday talking about the corkboard, Scrivener's corkboard, and then Wednesday our special guest speaker, Jane Friedman. Really loved having her here. She did such a phenomenal job. I'll be rewatching that presentation. I feel like there's so much to learn from her. Christine says, "Love these. Jane is the best." I agree, Annabelle. So true. She's a rock star. She's as they said, the GOAT, the greatest of all time. She's awesome. Really appreciate her taking her time out of her busy schedule to come and join us. Greetings from Ontario. Welcome, Nicole. Welcome, Star. Welcome, Martin. Welcome, Kelly. Good to see you all here. Hey, Carol, Jane was fantastic. Oh, I agree. 100%. 100%. Michael says, "Wow, I like the tie look. I used to rock the tie like every month, and then I switched to the polo after a while. 'Cause I'll admit I was getting a little lazy. But I'm rocking the tie again. I'm back. Got my dress shirt on. I tried to put on a suit coat. My wife's like, no, that's too far off the jacket. I like wearing a suit. I'm always looking for reasons to dress up. I don't have a lot of reasons to dress up anymore. I really would like to. I know we kind of live in this world where everyone kind of dresses down, but really, I'm looking for reason to dress up. I feel better and I feel more professional. I feel like I can accomplish more when I'm dressed well. I don't know about you guys. And actually, the same is true for my writing. Believe it or not, when I write, I guess depending on my mood, if I'm feeling lazy and dressed slovenly, I don't typically feel like in the mood to write. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I can still write, but I definitely like the feeling of being fresh, dressed up, ready to go. Let's see here. I actually don't have Scapple, so I hope this convinces me to use. Okay, Luis, that's great. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. For those of you who have used Scapple, this will be great. You'll be able to see. We'll kind of talk about it, how to use it to plan a book or a novel. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with Scapple, you're gonna get to see how this might be useful for your process or not. We'll just see how it goes. My goal is just to give you guys the tools, and then you can make the informed decision if this is a tool you want to use, if it makes sense for you. I thought thought pajamas were typical writing. Depends on the writer, I guess. Depends on the writer, JC. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. If you rock the pajama look and you feel comfortable wearing pajamas, that's great. Go for it. But for me, it's tie or a dress shirt all the way. Uh, that's just me. Minimum, I'm like business casual. I'll do like my polo. I guess pretty something close to that. Well, let me see. Let me pull up some of my notes here real quick before I get too far. Let's see if I can pop out this chat window here. Oh, I guess I'll move it over to a different screen. There we go. And let me pull up my notes as we're getting ready to get started. So we're 5 minutes after the hour. Before we jump right in, let me ask you guys a question, okay? What's the biggest challenge you face when it comes to organizing your ideas for a novel or a book, either one, or a project, whatever it is? You tell me, what's your biggest challenge you face when organizing your book? Let me see. Too many ideas. Ooh, okay, I like that. Usually a lot of people tell me the opposite. I have too few ideas, nowhere to begin. My brain getting started. Okay, I get it. I get it. Getting them down in a useful format. That's great, Rita. I like that. To make it flow, keeping them in one place. Too many lists. Okay. Being able to access information logically. I don't organize well. Too many connections and scraps of paper. Messy, mediocre, middle. Okay, that's good. So we can look at that. Scapple is a really great brainstorming space. And so I like to think of it as my place where I get to info dump all my ideas, just drop everything in there, and then start making collections, stop making organizations, trying to draw similar threads, and then, uh, getting rid of the ideas that maybe like this one just doesn't work. I'm going to move that into no man's land out here. Great. Finding my notes in a timely manner. Got it. Good main plot, but zero subplots. Yeah, okay. I get that. I get that. Make ideas actionable. Okay. Writing notes in different places and then finding them too late. Oh, that one is a bummer. Yeah, I know that feeling. I have 4 years of research after attending college again. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, well, let's go ahead and dive right in here. We're going to get started. I'm going to share my screen and let's talk about our topic today. Let me get this rolling. There we go. Get that out of the way. We're going to talk about planning your novel with Scapple, organizing ideas, and jumpstarting your writing. So I just want to welcome everyone to our final webinar session of April 2025 Scrivener webinar series, brought to you by the creative minds behind Scrivener and Scapple, Literature and Latte. I'm Oliver Evanson, your host today, bringing you insights drawn from over 15 years of writing and Scrivener expertise. Now, whether you're a seasoned author or you're just starting your writing adventure, our webinars are designed with your needs in mind. Now, today we'll be exploring how to plan your novel with Scapple so you can get your ideas organized and jumpstart on your writing. Remember, I do have a member of our dedicated technical support team standing ready to tackle any technical issues and answer your questions throughout the session. I have Ruth here. You may have seen her in the chat just a minute ago. So check her out. She will be happy to help you out. She'll be moderating that today. If you encounter any issues, it would really help her out if you submit your questions in the Q&A. Sometimes the chat just gets a little busy. Can't always catch all those questions, but if you can drop those in the Q&A for those, she can get to those quickly and efficiently. Now, for those of you who wish to revisit today's session or share it with your fellow writers, this webinar is being recorded, and you can find the replay on my YouTube channel tomorrow and enjoy it ad-free next week in the Literature and Latte webinar library. So those links will be provided shortly. Stay tuned. Okay. Now, for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Oliver Evanson. I'm a writer, editor, and mentor with 15 years of Scrivener and writing expertise. And I'm so excited to teach you what I have learned in my position as the outreach specialist for Literature and Latte, the creators of Scrivener and Scapple. Now, I absolutely love connecting with other like-minded writers. If you'd like to connect with me, please send me an email, or better yet, join my email list. I frequently send out valuable tips and techniques to help you become a better writer and Scrivener user. And all subscribers do receive a free copy of my free starter novel template. You can see the links just right there. And if you would like to see what I'm working on in Scrivener, feel free to check out my Substack, which is oliverevanson.substack.com, or use this QR code right here. You can see what I'm working on in Scrivener. It's kind of fun. Been working on the fantasy novel for some time. In fact, Ruth and I were just talking about it. Still work to be done, but we're making progress, getting where we need to go. Okay. Well, now that we're better acquainted, let's spend a few minutes outlining today's session. So to begin, I'll provide a short introduction to our topic and what you should expect to learn today. After that, we'll move right into our training, not going to waste any time, where I'll cover our main topic, planning your novel with Scapple. And to wrap it up, I'll provide you all with a wealth of free resources you can utilize to deepen your understanding of Scrivener and improve your writing skills. I'll also leave ample time at the end for our Q&A, where I'll do my best to answer as many questions as possible. Excuse me. Okay, well, without further ado, there's nothing I hate more than waiting 45 minutes before the presenter gets to his training. But real quick, before I do that, I just wanted to establish clearly what we will be learning today. Okay, so first off, I promise to teach you how to use Scapple to turn your scattered ideas into a clear and actionable roadmap for your novel. How to break through creative blocks and spark new inspiration with simple, effective techniques. And last but not least, how to structure your novel in Scapple by brainstorming key plot points and building a flexible outline that adapts as you write. Now, by the conclusion of this presentation, you should leave confident to use Scapple to get started brainstorming and outlining your next book. And you'll find that it's really, really easy. Now, before I get too far into this, let's talk about what exactly is Scapple. I saw somebody in there, at least one person doesn't have Scapple, doesn't own it, wants to know how it works and what it's all about. So what exactly is Scapple? Well, Scapple is an amazing idea mapping tool that helps you visually organize your thoughts. You can kind of imagine it as a digital brainstorming board where you can jot down ideas, jot down, connect ideas, and see how things fit together. It's really flexible, yet, it's actually pretty simple, but incredibly flexible. Now, what makes Scrivener, or not Scrivener, sorry, what makes Scapple perfect for writers? Well, it helps you keep all those scattered notes and floating ideas out of your head and onto the screen in a flexible environment. It gives you a bird's eye view of your story, which can really be a lifesaver if you're feeling stuck. Whether you're creating characters, building a plot, or exploring themes, Scapple helps you see the big picture fast. And the best part, I honestly believe it's for everyone. Whether you're writing your first novel, working on a series, or tackling a really complex storyline, Scapple adapts to the way you think. Now let's talk about the pros and cons of using visual organization tools like Scapple. Okay, so let's talk about the benefits of organizing ideas visually. So first off, why do we go to the trouble at all of visualizing ideas with tools like Scapple? Well, here's the thing: when your thoughts are on a screen or a board right in front of you, it can be easier for you to see patterns, uh, and build a relationship between ideas, and even identify gaps, places where you're missing information. A lot of times when we're looking linearly, it can be really hard to see that from start to finish, even if we break things up. Just having that ability to see it visually on a board with all these little notes everywhere, you can create those connections, identify gaps, and see those patterns. This makes a really complex idea or a task so much less overwhelming. And for writers, visual organization can be a secret superpower. It lets you see whether your plot makes sense. You can actually look at it and say, okay, is this actually logically playing out how it should? If your character stays true to their arc, or if you're missing an important moment in your story, it's like you're giving yourself a creative brain map to follow. Plus, there's something about visually connecting ideas that sparks inspiration, especially for me. I know not everyone is visually minded, so this may not be true for everyone. But it's just that ability to just see things as they are, all those little boxes everywhere, organize things and put them in their little places. For me, that I find that incredibly helpful. And it kind of goes back to what Jane was saying yesterday, the idea of taking a really big problem like a book and breaking it into small manageable chunks. And that's what I love about Scapple and Scrivener, actually. They both do a great job of taking big problems and allowing you to break them up into smaller pieces. Now, you might stumble onto something you didn't realize was there just by seeing everything laid out in front of you. Uh, and Now that we've covered the why, let's move into the how. I'll take you through a simple step-by-step guide to using Scapple for novel planning. Now, this is the actual fun part. Okay, let's dive right in. How do you actually use Scapple to plan a novel? Well, it's actually pretty easy, a lot easier than you think. Here's a simple idea. Now, you don't have to do it this way, but this is kind of what I've broken it down to. Step one, we're going to open up Scapple and start with a blank canvas. This is where we write down the main story idea or the concept right in the middle of the screen. And in step two, we can start adding related ideas. It could be characters, it could be specific scenes, it could be themes, it could be conflicts, it could be anything, you know. And then we start dragging lines between them to show connections or relationships. And then step three, this is where the magic happens. We start refining these ideas. We start digging a bit deeper, grouping similar concepts, prioritizing key moments, and start shaping our novel structure. If you're a visual learner, Scapple is going to be really powerful for you. It's a really creative playground for you to experiment. So let's dive right in. Let's see this in action. You'll see just how easy and how simple this is. Okay. Let's go ahead and open up Scapple here. Okay, so we're going to start with a blank canvas. You can see I have several different boards here that I've created uh, over the years to create different projects and different things. I have my little Panther novel board here. I have my romance novel brainstorm. A lot of brainstorming. So I do a lot of my brainstorming here in uh, in Scapple. What we're going to go ahead and do is going to go ahead and open up a new document just by clicking that button right there. And it opened up a new board. Now, before I do anything, the first thing I like to do is save it. Okay, save it like this and give it a name. So let's come up with a fun name for this book. Does anyone have an idea for a book they'd like to write? Something fun. Can be anything. Let's see here. I can pull up the chat here so I can see what's going on. Dinosaur on Mars, on the seriousness of dogs. Dinosaur on Mars, Nordic monkey. Fridays away from work. My so-called brain. Billy Bob's Misadventure. I like Nordic monkey. That one sounds fun. I'm gonna go with that. Thanks, Doug. It's a good one. So we're gonna call this Nordic monkey. As with anything here, this doesn't have to be a final title or anything by any means. And we'll just go ahead and call it that. We'll click save right here. Okay, and what it does is just automatically saves it. It's in my iCloud folder now. In case you hadn't noticed this, it's a little bit different in terms of Scrivener's Scapple does save in iCloud by default. If I can find it, but you can save it anywhere. You can save it in Dropbox. You can save it locally on your computer. Where is iCloud Drive? There it is, right there. And then right here, we'll pull it up, Scapple right there. So we can clean these up. Let's use by name. See if we can find it in Nordic Monkey right there. Okay, and it even gives you a little bit of a preview here on the Mac anyway of what this might look like. If I push the space bar, it'll actually give me a view of the entire board like so. Okay, so simple as this. We open up Scapple and we start with a blank canvas. I'm going to go ahead and maximize this, make this really big so we can see it. And you can see right here in the center, it says double click anywhere to create a note. Drag notes onto one another to make connections. Okay, so pretty easy. If we start with a blank canvas, we can just go ahead and double click here and create a note. Now, by default, your notes aren't going to look like this. It took a little bit of work on my part to set this up as my default note. By default, I typically shows just a word. It'll just be word, no formatting, no background, no nothing, none of that stuff. So real quick, I'm going to briefly demonstrate how to change this setting if you want to. So we can go to Scapple, Settings, New Notes, and this is where we make this adjustment. Anytime I click a new note, it's going to show up here. So right now I have my default text set to plot point. Okay. And I could have that as, I can't remember what the default one is. It's just like, you could have it as default text. It might just be text. I can't remember precisely. I don't know, Ruth, if you recall what the actual default text is there when you first open Scapple for the first time. But I've been using this default note as my own for so long, I've forgotten plot point. I really like that because then I already know that I've set up my Scapple specifically to be like, hey, I use this as a novel planning tool from the get-go. Now, whatever you're doing, if you're writing a memoir, if you're writing a screenplay, whatever kind of project you're working on, you're going to want to put whatever default text makes sense to you. Okay. We can adjust the font size. I have it as 20 points, default width, 200 points. That's how far across it is, like so. Let's see here. We could do the alignment, whether it's centered to the right or justified. And we could even adjust the fill color right here to whatever color we'd like. So let's just make some changes real quick. We'll go ahead and change this to 25. We'll change this to 250. Actually, let's do 300. See if that makes a big enough difference. We'll center it up. We'll even change the color to a kind of a light green color. The border, we're going to make it thicker. Now, I prefer squared. I don't know. There's something about a square shape that makes me feel like things are a little bit more organized. It makes my board feel less chaotic to me. I want something that I can kind of neatly stack things together personally, but that may be a different preference for you. You may want rounded corners or square or jagged. But for our purposes, we'll go ahead and switch them over to, let's try the jagged and see what that looks like. And we can do the border cut. We could even change the border color to something else. I'm going to leave it as black, but you could right click that and change that border color to anything you'd like it to be. Okay. Let's go ahead and do that. Move that over here. And now I'm going to double click again. Boom. And that's what it looks like. Now you can see it's a little bit wider. It's a little bit bigger. That plot point is a little bit bigger than it was before. The color has changed and we have that jagged edge instead. And so this might be appropriate if I was trying to create like a title or something. So let's say this is going to be scenes I want to write. Okay. Now I'm a big fan of this kind of outlining here. Where I do scenes where I want to write. And let's see here. I think I have, actually, I'm going to call this one plot points or beats, right? And then we want to change colors to these. That's pretty easy to do down the road. We'll get to that in just a second. Let's see if I can think of some other days. Let's do these ones as Darlings Killed. So these are ones that ideas I love, but they don't really work for the book. And then maybe I'll also come over here and I'll create one called, I'm trying to think. I have a bunch of different things I like to do. I'm trying to remember each kind of section I kind of set up. I got scenes I want to write, plot points, Darlings Killed. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, I'm going to open up Scrivener for a second, guys, because it's all of my Scrivener projects. My Pantser Novel Compass project. That template I just made. I love that template. It's a Pantser. It just makes sense to me. Okay, let's see here. So I have my Pantser's Toolbox, potential scenes. Okay, that's what I want. So I have potential scenes. Okay, potential scenes. Okay. And what else did I have? Oh, I had story seeds and plot points. Yep. Okay, so I'm just missing story seeds. Uh, I might want to add in one though. It's just like maybe, yeah, either Darling's Killed could kind of cover ideas that I liked but didn't work, and maybe even potentially ideas I didn't like. But maybe just in case, I'm gonna create another one as ideas, dumb ideas. I'm just gonna call it dumb ideas. Because here's the thing. In the beginning, when you're brainstorming, there's no such thing as a dumb idea. Not initially. Initially, it's just ideas. Eventually, I'll come through and say, okay, that was just that was just a bad idea. Nope, that's going in the bad idea folder here. Now, what I'm going to do over here in the bottom right corner, I can kind of zoom out here a little bit, and that way I have a little bit more space. Okay, and your board is basically as big as you need it to be, so don't worry about running out of space here. The main thing is I just kind of want to keep everything mostly visible here for now. We'll kind of bring everything down here. Dumb ideas like that. Now, I am going to reset back to my default here, plot point. We're going to switch this back to size 20. When you go back to the 200 here, I'm going to put it to the left. I'm going to change it back to yellow, and we're going to do a thinner border like that with a square. Okay, then we're back to, yep, right back to my default kind of look that I like. Now, the cool thing is this look I got here, it doesn't need to be my default. I can go ahead and open my inspector. Okay, I'm going to go to view, show inspector right here. And I could literally select any one of these notes and make those changes. So I could change this to 25 here. Okay, right? I could change this to green. I could then, for the border width, I'm just going to make it wider. I could center the text. I could change it to jagged. I could make it thicker, like so. You see how I just did that whole same process. It's just a matter of which one you want as what do you want as your default, right? I didn't get the color quite the same, but you get the idea, right? And I could even do that for multiple notes. If I wanted to, I could press and hold down my shift or command key, okay? On the PC, it's going to be control, in case you're wondering if you're on a PC there, control instead of command. So I can hold that down and I could change multiple notes at once, okay? So let's do it. I'm going to switch this one. Yeah, let's just leave that. But if I want to do that, I just select two notes and then make the change. Like so. And then we'll just change these to red so you can see that. Oops. Didn't quite get the change. There we go. Okay. See that there. Okay. Okay, so if we're writing a book about Nordic monkey, right, we could come up with a bunch of different ideas. So why don't you guys throw some ideas out in the chat for me? I'll just copy and paste them in here, see if we can come up with something mildly coherent for this demo here today. Okay. He's out of his mind. His ski wax failed miserably. Thank you, Doug. Appreciate it. Let's copy that. Okay. And where would you think that would go? Is that kind of like a potential scene, scenes I want to write, a plot beat, Darling's Killed, story seeds? I don't want to put anything on. I'm not going to put anything under dumb ideas, guys, because that would just be mean right now. So let's just put dumb ideas to the side. But yeah, go ahead and throw it out. Okay. We're going to go ahead and copy. Perfect. Paste. Okay. Okay. In this case, I'm just copying and pasting, so I'm deleting the text that's normally inside of it. Monkey fell off boat and is stranded in the Arctic. Okay, I like it. Okay, that seems like a potential scene to me. Okay, so that's kind of like a plot point, like potential scene, plot point. Could go either way. Let's see here. Creature in Norway. Okay, I like it. Copy. Great. I'm trying to capture all these, so be patient with me while I get them. Monkey's clearly an outsider. Okay, he needs a wardrobe. Did I get that one? Copy, paste. And you'll notice too here, it is that text is highlighted. So if I were to type right away, it would just delete it. So if I want to keep the text there, I have to like push over, like my arrow key over, and then write if I want something. Okay, here, perfect. Okay, so right now I'm just going to throw these down in here. Maybe we'll look at trying to organize these a little bit here in just a second. Fill the bow. He also needs. Okay, perfect. He needs to win the Lutefisk cook-off or he's gonna go broke. Oh boy, did he lose his passport? Good question. Did he lose his passport? Okay, excellent. So this is a great idea. This is great how we're doing this. We're literally just throwing ideas around here and just trying to just throw out stuff. So if this were me doing this by myself, I'd just be creating a bunch of notes like this and just filling them out. And I'll worry about kind of organizing them in just a minute. Bum. Oh, and thank you, Tara, for pointing that out. Yeah, the the cost of Scapple is minimal. I didn't cover any costs or things like that. I think it's like 20 bucks USD. I'd have to look at it might be 1999. I don't know if, we can look that up later if anyone has a question about that. But this is an extremely powerful app, really simple, but really powerful app, really cheap, easy to get and easy to use, a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. If you don't already have a copy, go snag yourself a copy. It's not going to break the bank by any means. Okay, let's see here. It's 20.99. I just downloaded it. See, yeah, 20.99. Not bad at all. I mean, most softwares nowadays run anywhere from like the, $60 range up to like the, $200, $300, $400 range. I've seen it very widely. So Scapple is affordable, it's powerful, it's useful. You're gonna love it. I guarantee it. Okay. Now, what I could do is I could kind of organize some of these together. Let's say I want to take these two and right click and I can stack them. Boom, like that. So let's say these two, I want to stack them together like so. This creates a quick way where I can kind of just quickly organize some ideas together. Let's assume these had some similar ideas like this. Oops, I didn't get two of them. Stack. Oops, that one goes over here with these two. Stack. Okay, let's make that wider. There we go. I can even select them all and align them by different edges here, bottom edge, top edge, right edge, etc. Can align them by their horizontal centers, vertical centers. You can kind of mess around with these to kind of get something you like here. Boom. Oh, these two. Let's stack them together. Stack. Oops. Did I click the wrong one? I did a line. Auto fit, I think is what I did. If I have them selected to the other two, you can see how I can widen them the same and make them the same width, like so. Right. Oh, thank you, Ruth, for pointing that too. That is a one-time purchase. This is not like a Scapple is not like a subscription by any means where you have to pay for it 20 bucks every year, even though honestly that wouldn't be that bad. But it's not. It's just $20 one-time purchase, and that covers your household. That's your household license, so you can install Scapple on your desktop, laptop, and if you're using multiple computers, and immediate family members that live in the same address can also use that license. So it's a pretty generous license. I love it. Once my kids are old enough to start using this, I'll probably even have them use it for school and stuff too. Because it's not, I mean, it's so versatile. You can use it for so many things. Imagine if you're planning an academic paper as well or something. A kid's working on an essay or, this would be a great way, to do this. And when I was a kid, I didn't have anything like this. It would have been great to say, hey, let me just throw everything out here and kind of figure out, like, I could even help them do it, and just like, hey, let's just throw out some ideas of what your topic is, what it's about, and try to see if we can find an interesting way to turn this into a cool essay, right? Says I use it for travel and budget planning. Hey, that's probably one thing I love about Scapple and Scrivener is that it can be used in so many different ways. Okay, so many different ways. It's for it's for writers most certainly, but it can be used for a variety of different purposes. Well, not just writing. Yeah. Right now there are no dim ideas, so thank you guys. That's a great question, Robin. Does it integrate with Scrivener or solely standalone? So it does have some friendly things that it does work with Scrivener. In fact, I could take a Scapple project and store it inside of my Scrivener project if I want to. I can't edit it directly inside a Scrivener, but I could have it stored in there. Taking stuff like moving this over from moving an outline from Scapple into Scrivener is really easy to do, and I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. Yep. Plus, oh yeah, it's a good point. We also have a free trial for 30 days. You can use 30 non-consecutive days. So you can use this for 30 days, actual 30 days. It only counts the days you use it and decide, hey, is this for me or is this not, right? So the choice is yours. Oh, I love Scapple. It's such a fun little tool. And like I said, it's not rocket science. It's not difficult to learn by any means. It's actually quite simple. Double click and you're good. Now, if we want to now, we can start dragging things together to create relationships. Now, I'll be honest, I don't do a lot of the dragging and dropping like this to create those relationships. I do sometimes, but I tend to like find myself making stacks and groups and things like that. But you certainly can. You can drag and drop it on to connect or disconnect a line like this. Okay. If I hold I think it's the control key. Let's see. Nope. If I hold the option key or alt key on the PC, you can see it actually makes an arrow on the direction I drag it. So if I drag it both directions, I get an arrow both ways. Let's zoom in so you can see that a little bit better. And I'm using my little zoom bar here. If you have, let me show you. If you have a trackpad like this, whether you're on a computer or a MacBook or wherever, even on a Mac Studio like I have, if you just have a trackpad or a PC or anything, that actually is really nice too, because I could turn that on. I don't have mine turned on. Let me show you. And I love using Scapple with a trackpad because now I can zoom in and out, pinch to zoom like this, so I don't have to use that zoom bar. And I can also scroll left and right really easily. So great if you have a trackpad. I love using it with the trackpad. It's a good one to have. Another thing that's great, if you are familiar with the middle mouse, okay, that's the button in the middle of the scroll wheel here. You can kind of get a similar effect, like a click and drag. I can click and drag anywhere I want on my board like this by pushing the middle mouse button. That was a feature that I think we added early. It might have been 2 years now, but it feels like just last year. Kind of a cool little thing. So if you don't have a trackpad, don't worry. You can use that middle mouse to kind of move things around pretty easily too. Um, and for zooming, there are keyboard shortcuts and things you can do. The main one I want to teach you today is just the letter Z. Okay, you press the letter Z, and it gives you a view of your entire board. And wherever I put my mouse, that's where I'm going to zoom into. So let's pretend I was zoomed in a bit more here like this. Okay, and I was looking at this. Nork Monkey is clearly an outsider. Okay, and I wanted to zoom out and see the rest of my board. I can press the letter Z. Now I get to see the whole board as it stands right now. And then wherever I put my mouse, that's where I'm going to go. I want to look at this note here. There we go. Max Picard. I asked him the same earlier in the thread. Yep. So there we go. Actually, I thought that was something else. But okay. Boom. Over here. Plot point. He needs to cool off, etc., etc., etc. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out here. Now I can pinch the zoom on my trackpad like this to do it. Easy peasy. I delete that one. I thought that was something else. Okay, so there we go. We can kind of group these together like so. So we can, let me demonstrate that again. If I want to create a arrow connection, I hold the Alt or the Option key and I click and I drag it like that. And whichever way I drag it, that's the direction it's going to appear. Okay, let's get closer so we can see that really well. Once again, I'm going to click and hold to get the arrow going the other direction. If I want to remove the arrow, click and drag it like that while holding the Alt or Option key. Same thing, holding Alt or Option key, it'll switch it to this dotted line here. Okay, let's see here. So we've talked about jotting out ideas, plot points, character notes. Yeah, let me show you how I've kind of used this to keep track of characters from the past. I'm going to open up one of my recent Scapple boards. Okay, this is a great example here. You can just pinch to zoom to go in. You can see here. And so what I did is I created these little background spaces and I just created notes and just kind of talked about what this character is. In this case, I had an image from an artist that had drawn this character for me, and so I had a general idea of what the physical description looks like, and it made it a little bit easier for me to even to describe it in words, right? But you could use an AI tool if you wanted to generate a simple image. That's one use of AI I think is great. You can easily pull up a quick image for a character and drop it into Scapple and use it, or you could just Google search online, just find an image that matches close to the character you're trying to do. Anyway, works fine for me. Whatever makes sense. This is really great for brainstorming, right? We can keep these ideas together, kind of talk. I have like personality here. I have his role in the story, physical description, personality, and things like that. All sorts of fun stuff we can do here. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. You can see, and I did this with several characters. Some of them we didn't do, some of them we did. At one point, we're just like, hey, I just have to start writing this book. Not going to worry about getting everything filled in. We focused mainly on the key characters or the main characters of the story and what they were doing at the time. Okay. So, okay. Now that I think about that, I haven't shown you guys how to create that background shape. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to switch back to the other board here. Just a second. There we go. If I wanted to create a background shape to kind of group ideas together, it's really easy to do. I can go ahead and right click, new background shape. Okay. And it looks like the default color is this kind of blue color that I have set up here. I probably set that up myself. It's not the general default. Okay. But there we go. I can kind of group those ideas together like so. And I might want to actually move these guys off. Select them all at once by holding down the command key. Control if you're on a PC like that. Okay. And what I also have turned on is magnetic. Okay. So you see how these moved with the image? That means that this background shape is in fact magnetic. If that magnet is turned off, they won't come around with it. So if you want that effect, make sure you have the magnetic turned on for the background shape. Okay. So let's say this is potential scenes, right? So I'm going to put that right there. Now I have my potential scenes, and I may want to make this a little bit more clear here. I'm going to change this color to, let's do red. We'll do the background shape. We're going to make that kind of a lighter blue color so it's a little bit easier to see. Okay. And I could do that for all of these guys and kind of organize them anyhow I like to. Probably will do something similar here. Add new background shape, right? And have it for each of kind of my sections and my categories. My story seeds will have its own section. My dumb ideas is going to have its own section. Right. Oops, wrong one. New background shape. There we go. Like so. Kind of put those all together. And I may want to give these different colors. I'm going to do that as a light green. Do this one as kind of a light pink. And plot beats, probably do that as a, oops, wrong button. New background shape. Probably do that as the blue. We'll just keep that. That's fine. Now, likewise, if you're wondering, okay, why is mine blue and yours is not? It's the same idea. If I go to my Scapple settings here, and here's new shapes, I can adjust this so that every new background shape shows up as something like this right here, right? So we could change this to a different color. We could add a different border. We could, in this case, I do have them round instead of square. I could make them square if I want them all square. I could have the border color be a different color. I can also make sure it's going to be magnetic by default or not. I can also take off that shadow if I want that shadow or not. Personally, the shadow doesn't bother me, so I'm just leave it like that, but that's how I would make those adjustments right in there. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. In fact, let's do this. We're actually going to stack these guys together. There we go. And we're going to align the right edges. There we go. See how that is neatly stacked those up? This one looks like got a little bit off. Let's see if we can actually. Let's just delete that guy there and stack all these together like so. Stack. Boom. Okay. And then I could actually literally come and say, hey, okay, this is a potential scene, and maybe it corresponds with this specific plot beat. If I'm using like 3-act structure, for example, I could have like Act 1, right? And then Act 2. And I could slowly build out the entire structure of the whole novel. It doesn't have to be linear. It could be, you can start at the ending, you can start in the middle, you can start wherever you like and kind of just say, okay, this is what's going on here. This is the inciting incident. Incident, right? Boom. And I could say, okay, right now, monkey fell off boat in the Arctic. And that's my inciting incident, for example. Okay. Oops. There we go. Like that. Let's change that fill color to a light red so we can see that line a little bit better. We'll go option, drag it over, and have that little arrow appearing right there between them. And so a monkey finds love with a polar bear. That might be our midpoint. I don't know. Okay. Right now, it's anyone's guess, right? Boom, like that. And so I could slowly build this out and kind of build my novel piece by piece. What order I do it in, how I do it, whether I start organize them into plot beats and use a structure, is totally up to me. If I just want to have a bunch of scenes together and start mixing them out and saying, okay, I didn't like this idea, let me throw this over into my demo ideas, that's fine. You can just see how we can quickly kind of organize these anywhere we want to. And I may even need to make my board bigger. Let's see here. and pull my darlings killed and something maybe over here or something. Oops, got too many selected there. Boom. Oops, come on. Let's grab that one right there. That one I want right there. And I could add some new shapes here, like so. Oops. Let's zoom in here so we can see this a bit better. New background shape. Okay, and I can make that longer if needed. There we go, like so. So I slowly build that out. And then at this point, it's a matter of just refinement, right? Putting things where they think they go. Keep brainstorming. You decide where you're at in the process. If you want to just brainstorm that day, brainstorm, throw out ideas, kind of get everything down, and then spend some time connecting them together. Then spend some time refining them and putting them where they go. That's the idea. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Hopefully that makes sense to you. It's not too hard to do. Let's zoom out here. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to switch back to the presentation. And we'll go from there. Come on. Sorry, it's not working with me here. Come on. Okay, so overcoming creative writing blocks, we've all been there. Whether you're stuck in a plot hole, a character dilemma, or just staring at a blank page, the first step is figuring out what's holding you back. And this is why I love Scapple so much. We can just jot down everything that's swirling in our head without overthinking it. We can free associate words, phrases, or ideas linked to the story and see where it takes us. You can use it to experiment with different story scenarios. If you're feeling stuck, you can kind of come up with multiple what ifs. What if this? What if that? I love the what if question. That question kind of keeps you going and just testing possibilities. A lot of times when I'm in Scrivener, I'm kind of committed to a certain plot point, a certain area, and so I have a hard time exploring a what if scenario directly in Scrivener. And that's why sometimes I'll jump out of Scrivener. I'll jump back into Scapple and I'll say, okay, this is what I have currently for my plot, but what if I did this instead? Uh, I've been I've been caught in that, I guess you could call it, pitfall or trap multiple times where I'm like, what if this? And then I kind of just switch gears immediately and assume I'll just come back and fix everything later. But sometimes it's good to go back into Scapple and say, let me play this out and see how would this actually break out. If I make this change, what changes in the beginning? What do I have to change here? I can look back at the outline and say, okay, got to change this, and this, and this. And where will this take me going forward? Is this really going to take my book in the direction I want to go? And right then I can make that decision. Do I want to keep going with this new idea, this new what if, or should I stay true to my original plot, my original plan that is maybe working or not working? It just kind of gives me the opportunity to kind of step back and look at it with fresh eyes. Allows me to maybe spot potential connections or ideas that I hadn't noticed before. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Now we kind of touched on this a little bit already, but I'm going to pull in. Let's pull in the Save the Cat or the 3-act structure here and see how we could potentially use that to plot it out or build it out. I'll show you how I did it with my first book here. The Mark of the Shadow, originally called The Otter and the Amulet, how we kind of broke that up, and I broke it up into 3 different acts. Ironically, it has changed a lot. Actually, I shouldn't say ironically. Unsurprisingly, it has changed a lot since that original outline. But it's kind of fun to look and see how I did that, how I kind of built out that outline step by step, character by character, and fleshed it out, and how eventually I imported that outline into Scrivener. And that's what we're going to look at next, how we can do that, how we can bring it directly into Scrivener, how we could potentially break it up into either the 3-act structure or maybe even the Save the Cat plot structure there. Okay. Let's do it. Okay, here we go. So what we're going to do, okay, in this case, how I've designed this specific board is kind of like my Pantser novel compass, where I've kind of broken up everything into key points or key ideas. I'm going to open up my Fenelor's Shadows Scapple board here. I'm going to show you how I handled this in the past. Now, this may not necessarily be the best way, but it is a way to do this. And I kind of liked how I could build this like almost like the 3-act structure art arc you'll see where it kind of starts down low and it goes all the way up to that crisis climax and then goes all the way down to the descending action to the uh, denouement, the wrap up, whatever you want to call it. So let's zoom in here and see what we got here. Oops. So what I did is essentially this. Okay. I had a background shape with this Act 1 setup, right? We started the feast. We set up Quillendale and King Richard, established a bit of the background, yada, yada, yada. Okay. And here's the beginning. So we worked that beginning up to that inciting incident. So we have each character here. Each color represents a character. And you may notice that these colors continued on into my Scrivener project, with the exception of Eyeball here. I think I changed him to yellow from blue to yellow. But if I wanted to, I could easily change that now. Just as a reminder, view, show inspector. I could easily change that like that. Boom, yellow now. And see how I'm using these styles here. Just click it and change it like that. Kind of cool. Anyway, we'll come back to that. So he's yellow now. You can see I have like a little idea for each character. So this is my beginning and my inciting incident, which each character. So like maybe they're open, if you're using Save the Cat, like the opening image, theme stated, all the way up to that catalyst, right? We have second thoughts, okay, for each character. We go up and see, I kind of use these lines between them. I kind of later regretted that. It was, for me, it was harder to kind of track what is what, and I don't think it's totally necessary, but if you want to, you can see I could just drag and drop these across from each other like that. Kind of gives it a feeling of connection. Then we have the first culmination. This is Dorton's Tower, the Goblin King, Grondel, Ned. Those have all changed. Names and things have changed a lot since then too. Obstacles and subplots. This is the midpoint, the big twist, right? You can see I have, in some cases, I've actually put like the name of the character here to help me know whose is what. But that's why the colors were there, so I could easily identify who was doing what and where. I like that I can easily change these over just like that. We move up to our obstacles. And so if you're wondering here, how did I get this shape within a shape? It's just two background shapes. Okay. So if I wanted to, I could add a new background shape. Oops. New background shape on top of it. Give me a second. New background shape. Come on. Why is it not working? Ah, that's because it put it right there. Let's undo that. Undo, undo, undo. There we go. Do, and let's do new background shape like this. Oh, come on. Why is it doing that? Undo. See if I just click over here, new background shape. There we go. Okay, so occasionally it's a bit tricky. And then I can put that anywhere I want to on my board here. In this case, it actually might be easier to create the background shape first and then put a big one around it when you're done. Now that I think about it. So I think what I did here is I created all these individually, and then I took one big background shape and grouped them all together like so. Well, yep, that's what I did. So it's sometimes what's happening there, in case you're wondering why it's giving me trouble here, is what it's trying to do is make a connection instead. See, it wants to connect the note to the background shape. We don't need that or want that, but that's what's going on there. So I could easily just delete that and then create another one, create a bunch of these, and then go ahead and make a big one to go around it. Let's change that back to red. Ooh, that's not quite the same. We'll go with that. Pink is fine. Okay, we'll move on here. Zoom in. Yeah, oops, too far. There we go. Ah, there we go. Sometimes. There we go. Also, bear in mind, if you're seeing some glitches here going back and forth, because my computer is running Zoom and everything at the same time, sometimes that slows it down and makes it a little bit unresponsive. So if you're wondering about that, that's probably what's going on here. Okay, there we go. Perfect. So we have our Act 3 resolution. You can see how I grouped those all together. I created the individual notes. I put those into background shapes, organized them together, and then I created a big background shape around it to put it all together like so, all the way down for each character. And that way I get to keep track of every character and where they ended up. In this case, Ivel's was the epilogue for the end of this show. And I can even look and see, okay, how many chapters does each character get, right, so to speak, or how many plot points does each character get? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nothing there for him. 5, 6, 7, 8 key plot points for Eyeball at this point, at this stage of the process, right? Okay. And I can look at that and see who's what. And I can even say, hey, I've identified some gaps here. Why isn't there any Eyeball chapter here? Is there a reason for that? Is there a purpose for that? All it does is make me ask questions and make me wonder, okay, is there something missing here that I need to figure out? I can identify that gap and then make a decision there. Looks like I actually do have an Eyeball chapter there. I missed it because I didn't change that color, right? But we definitely have one missing here. And so why is Ivel missing here? I have to think about that. Is there if there's a specific reason for it and it makes sense and you want to keep it that way, that's fine. But at least this way you're aware, right? You know what's happening. Okay. Okay. Looking good here. Now the next thing I want to show you, and this goes to that question about do Scrivener and Scapple work together? Yes, they do. Let's bring the outline I've made here into Scrivener. So I'm gonna go ahead and zoom out here a little bit. There we go. And we're actually just going to bring these directly into a Scrivener project. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and open up Scrivener. Put these kind of side by side here. Okay. And I'm actually going to create a new project with my Panther Novel Compass, which was what the original Scapple board was kind of based off of. We'll just call this the Nordic Monkey. Oh, not money, monkey. Save it in my Scrivener projects folder. Okay. And I'm going to show you for both books. I mean, both the one we made and the actual outline I have here to the left here. Come on here. Work with me. There we go. Okay. Let's go ahead and open up the other Scapple board too. Nordic Monkey. Okay, there it is. It's just bigger. Let's put that over here. Like so. Okay. So if I wanted to bring stuff in here, really easy to do. Okay. I have my series folder here that I'm going to use. Okay. And this is book 1, right? So I'm going to bring in Act 1 here. Okay. Boom. Like that. Now it brought it in as groups like this, you'll see, okay? So it does take a little bit of organization, but really easily I can bring those up. You can see it gives it the title. The title is the name of the text inside of it, right? We can look at group 2 here. I have Second Thoughts, Rude Awakenings. I can kind of merge these together if I want to, but I'm going to keep them separate for now. We're just going to pull everything out like this. Delete those, open that. This is beginning. Looking good. Actually, let's pull those right there. Oops. Pull that out. We'll stick that in Act 1. This is all Act 1 stuff, so we'll throw it all into the Act 1 folder here. Like so. Act 1, don't need that. I mean, we'll keep that and see if it's something we potentially need. And there we go, just like that. I've got it all pulled in to Scrivener. Looks like we got one more. Did I get 2 of those? Oh. Interesting. Not sure why that happened. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. And so from here, I could then potentially create, I don't need that one. We can delete that there. And so now I have all those notes for each character, right? I could then convert these into folders, for example. And they could take this and put it in the inspector. Oh, look, it's already there. So I could even delete that. In this case, it added it both to the name here, it added the name and the text here to my synopsis. So it kind of puts it in a couple different places. It's a little redundant, I know, but it makes sure that all the bases are covered here. So you could keep this here and kind of use it as a springboard, or you could just have it listed here in the side and use it there, whatever makes sense to you. So I probably would just go through here and just make some changes and adjustments like this. Okay. And if I wanted to just quickly change these all the folders, I could right click, convert to folder. You'll notice they have these little kind of like document signals next to them. That just means that there's text stored in that folder. So I'll probably just come through and quickly delete all of this. Like so, because it's all, remember, it's all in my corkboard anyway. And you'll notice too that they have these little index cards in them now. And that means that there is, in fact, a synopsis here I can use. And so I could do this for the entire outline. I'm just going to do it for this one act, but you can see I could easily bring all these in, and then I could just come here and get started writing. Okay, I could even just create a new document or a new document here, add scene template like that, and boom, start writing. Okay, like so. So that's pretty handy. Also makes your corkboard look really nice and neat. Look at that. Oh, come on, get bigger. There we go. You can see that. And so really easy to bring that outline directly into Scrivener and use it right away. So if you're familiar with Wednesday's, not Wednesdays, Monday's corkboard webinar, this would be a great way to, you could start in Scapple and then use the corkboard just to continue building out. So maybe you've eliminated all the dumb ideas, right? All the stuff that you just weren't feeling that were working, or you've kind of outlined a novel in Scapple and now you're ready to bring it into Scrivener. And you can still spend some time in the corkboard here, moving around, getting familiar with your outline, getting familiar with how it works in Scrivener, and then double click any icon, create a new scene, and you're on your way to getting to work. Or, mind you, you didn't have to convert these into folders. You could literally just write them as documents, as chapters. Either way is fine. Okay. So that's bringing it into Scrivener. Pretty easy and straightforward to do. Like I said, I can bring any of these in. If I wanted to bring in some notes and stuff, let's go over here. Boom, boom, boom. Let's say I have my potential scenes here, and I'm using my Panther novel toolbox like this. Okay, I have my potential scenes. I can literally just drag and drop this over into potential scenes like so. And now they're all grouped together. Here are my potential scenes. Great. Boom. Can pull them in and start to work right away. Okay. So I find this incredibly useful. We can do it all. We can kind of get the ideas out in Scapple, and then we're ready to bring them into Scrivener. We can. It kind of, for me, is like a filtering system. I come here, I can filter it out. Once I've kind of got the main things I like, I can bring it directly into Scrivener. Either way you do it, it's just fine. But hopefully you have an idea now of how you might approach using Scapple with Scrivener together to write something pretty incredible. Okay. Well, I'm going to switch back to my presentation here and just say, I want to thank everyone for coming today. I'm really, really excited for what you guys are going to do with Scapple. I believe you're going to do some great and amazing things. I do want to give you guys some free resources. Of course, I have my free starter novel template. You can access that at ogevinson.com/links. If you're looking for more resources, I personally recommend you can check out the links listed here on this page. You can check out the full webinar library at literatureandlatte.com/library. We have a user forum, user manuals, blog and video tutorials, and so much more at literatureandlatte.com and ogevinson.com/tools. So check those out. You're going to love them. Don't wait. Jump right in and get started. Oh, and if you want to subscribe, you can also just scan that QR code right there. I do send out replay links. I send out every time I release a new template, guides and things to using Scrivener, Scapple, and so much more, all from my Turning Writers into Authors Substack. So check that out. If you're not part of that community, I highly recommend you do. I send out a weekly newsletter where you can get access to all that stuff and so much more. Well, I'm glad you guys learned a lot. That's great. Mirabai Knight, that's great. Heather, you enjoyed it? Great. Silver, you're welcome. Marilyn, you're welcome. Oh, I'm glad to hear you guys enjoyed this session. You know, sometimes when it comes to Scapple, we don't get as many people coming. So I'm excited to see we had a pretty big crowd here today. It was great. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us here at Scrivener/Back, Scrivener/Win, Scrivener/Mobile, or if you're using Scapple, Scapple at literatureandlatte.com. Of course, if you have any webinar related questions, please reach out to me at contact@ogevinson.com. I'm also taking topic requests. If there's a speaker you would like to hear from, let me know. I've been outreaching and meeting different people, which has been really exciting and fun. I love having people coming onto our webinar series and teaching us all sorts of new and great ideas. So feel free to let me know. Dennis, unfortunately, there is not a Linux version of Scrivener anymore. We used to offer a Linux version. I want to say there probably is still a way to get an older version of Scrivener on Linux. I could be wrong about that, but I would check out the user forum on that. I'm pretty sure they have a whole page on the previous Linux version. I'm not sure if it still works how it used to, though. Thank you. Yeah. So as a reminder to everyone, this whole session has been recorded, so you'll be able to watch that replay. Let me see the chat here. If we missed anything in the Q&A. I am going to open it up for just a few minutes, see if we have any questions here that need to be addressed before we wrap up. We have a few minutes before we can go. Oh, so Karen is asking, what about character description? It does not bring photos over to Scrivener, correct? Oh, actually, it does. Let me show you that. Now, if you drop it directly into your draft folder, that's where you're going to have problems. But if you drop it into your research folder, it should bring over that image with it. So let's demonstrate that right now. I'm going to share my screen here, and we'll see how that looks. Share. Bum, bum, bum. Desktop 1. Okay, let's go back to see if I can find Lord Shadows here. Okay, right there, right? And let's find those characters and make this bigger real quick so we can find them. Come on, let's see. Okay, there's those character sheets right there, and it does have images attached to them. Okay, so what we're gonna do is go ahead and find the one we want to bring in. So I'm gonna bring in this one right here. What's going on here? Okay, this one right here. Actually, you know what? That's a good image, but it doesn't have any description with it. Let's do Stratton right here. Let's bring him in. So if I wanted to bring in Stratton, let's say I tried to bring him into the series title. Let's see what happens. See, it's not going to let me because it has an image attached to it. So what we'll do, oops, how did I get over here? Boom, 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 boom. I'm holding Z in case you're wondering so I can navigate this a bit quicker. There we go. There's Stratton. Okay. Undo what we just did. There we go. Okay. So if I wanted to bring him in, this whole thing, you notice I'm bringing in the entire thing, including the shape, and how the shape is what helps group Scrivener know how it's grouped together. Let's just drop it into Series Bible. Actually, let's find the exact folder we want to put it in. Characters. Oh, there we go, right there. And so I could literally just drag and drop this over like so. Characters. Boom. Oh, you know what? It didn't bring it in. I know it used to. Maybe that's a change. Let me see if I can just bring it in directly. Yeah. For some reason, it didn't grab the image, but you can see I can literally just drag and drop that image directly in there. Now, usually what I'll do when I'm bringing in a character like this, watch this. I'm going to take all these documents like this. I'm going to go to Documents, Merge. Okay, it's going to warn me, hey, this can't be undone. Okay, undone. Boom. And see how it brought it all together? It's a nice little character sheet. Then I could then take that same character sheet, the image here, drag and drop it over. Boom. There it is. And now I can actually change this to Stratton. Honestly, really great for characters. Boom. And now I have, oops, a nice character sheet like so of Stratton. Might want to come in here and actually have his name or something. I don't think I had a, did I have a name here? Something, I guess not. I guess his name was just on the image. But ideally, if it had a name, it would have come through nicer. Let's go ahead and grab a different one. Oh, there we go. Yes, Nira here. So we're going to grab her, bring her in. Come on, you can do it. Boom, into characters. Oh, this time it did bring it in. Okay, there's the image right there. There's Nira. Okay, I'm going to take all these. I probably will want to organize them in the way that I want them to appear in my character sheet, right? So maybe I want age up closer to the top, goal motive closer to the top, personality closer to the top, role in the story, etc. Conflicts we'll put there. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to group this all together. Documents, merge. Okay. Boom. Oh, look at that. Looks nice. All together. All nice. Oh, nice and neatly put together. All just because I had it nicely organized in there. I can then once again switch this over to an image. Drag and drop that over like so. If I want to clear that image, I can. I wonder if I could just drag it over here from Scapple too. Let's just see that. If I drag this, come on. Sorry, my computer's being a little bit slow. No, it looks like it's just better just to have it here like that. I'm going to go ahead and trash that. And boom, now I've got a second character in. All just pulled from Scapple. So I did all that work in Scapple, but now it's neatly and simply put together directly in my Scrivener project, just like that. Okay. So that's how I would do that. So I'm glad you asked that question. That was a great question, Karen. Okay, well, I think we're going to go from there. Dragging Scapple and Scrivener and merging, mind blowing. Great. I'm glad. Yeah, the merge thing is pretty awesome. It really makes the character creations thing there because typically, I don't know about you, I'm not a big fan of building out a whole character sheet or filling one out in linear like this. There's something appealing about doing it in Scapple. Plus, there's color. It's pretty looking. I love this. I just love how it looks. And then I can bring it over and make it a nice, neat sheet that's usable and user-friendly in Scrivener, which is great. So there you go. Hopefully, glad I blew your minds with that one. Enjoy that little tidbit. Give it a try. Have fun with that. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I think it looks like all the questions have been answered either by me or by Ruth. So I think we're going to call it a day. I'm going to go ahead and close that out and pull up my last little thing, and we'll jump out of here for the rest of the session. Okay. So here we go. Maybe. I just want to say, as we conclude today's session, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to each of you for dedicating your time and energy to this webinar. Your participation has been inspiring, so thank you. Thank you for participation. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope the insights and tools shared today empower you to elevate your writing craft and with Scrivener. And please remember, our commitment to supporting your creative endeavors doesn't end here. Our team is always available to assist you to explore and harness Scrivener's full potential. Stay connected with us and be sure to check out our upcoming webinar series next month for more educational and inspiring content. Until next time, write on and stay creative.